Welcome back to another episode of Excuse My Grandma. It's Kim and my co-host,
Grandma Gail.
And today you can tell we are filming here at the Colony Hotel with a very special guest. Her name is Brooke Thomas, and she's the founder of Live Out Loud, which is a vibrant community of women, faith-focused, dedicated to empowering women to build 6, 7, and 8-figure companies by paving their own paths to success. So Brooke, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're delighted.
So we're happy also to be here in Palm Beach together. This
Yes.
worked out so well. You're from Palm Beach
Yes,
originally?
born and raised here.
So do you have memories about the colony?
Oh, the colony, the breakers,
Yeah.
just being on the island is just so beautiful. I mean, every time I come back, it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
But yes, I just love being here. And this hotel is so feminine
Yeah.
and just stunning. So I
It's the
love
most like Palm Beachy.
Oh,
And I feel like
yes.
that kind of goes with your brand of being bold and pink. And
Pink. Oh, I know. I already told all of my ladies we're coming back here for a retreat.
Yeah,
And so
perfect.
I'm bringing I think we're taking over the whole hotel. We're bringing 65 women.
that's
so,
fun. That's
but
fun.
I mean, it's the pink hotel, so we have to come.
Yeah.
The lobby is the greatest.
Yeah.
I love that wallpaper.
It's
Yes.
very Palm Beachy.
Yeah.
And if those are just listening and not watching us right now, we're on these like green velvet couches. The room's super floral. We have a view of the colony backyard with the pool and that whole very 50s, 60s retro Palm Beach look.
It's just iconic. right?
Iconic. How do you
Yes.
think Palm Beach has changed? Just curious.
Oh, well, I mean, I feel like it was a hidden secret. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but just, living on the West Coast and being around so many people that have never been to Palm Beach, because, I grew up here, I thought everybody knew about Palm
Yeah.
Beach, but I do feel like it was like a little hidden gem.
Right. They're like,
And-
you mean Palm Springs.
Yes,
And you're like,
exactly.
no.
They
Yeah.
say you mean Palm Springs.
Yeah.
And, I know that, it's become so busy. It's become, just really, there's so many, I mean, I kind of feel like we're in New York sometimes because everybody from New York,
Right.
has moved here, and everybody actually from the West, so many people from the West Coast, have moved out here, and it's just, but I love it. I'll be honest. I love the change. I love the energy. I love that it feels like there's so many
more modern.
Yes, and the restaurants, the really good restaurants from New York
Yeah.
and the West Coast have come. Businesses from New York have come. And, I keep saying New York because that was like always the place that had the best restaurants, the best business. And then going out to the West Coast about 6 years ago, I just realized how many people didn't know. Like you said, every time I said Palm Beach, they're like, Palm Springs? And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, Palm Beach.
Yeah.
So it's
Do you
just,
agree with that,
yeah.
Grandma?
Yeah, I think was a more northeast kind of commute because
Yeah.
people came on the train in the olden days, and then they came on planes. It was a very easy commute.
Yes.
From people from Massachusetts, and New York, and
And you see
the
the
East
change
Coast.
that's
well, the change
happened.
is dynamic because
yeah.
we've become a big city now, and West Palm Beach is becoming a high-rise city. I mean,
Yes.
it's one after another, and it'll be interesting to see. I think some of the charm is leaving because, like everything else, things change.
I know.
But a lot of good things are happening.
Yes.
And, I just hope that the infrastructure can hold up
handle
these
it.
buildings
Yes.
because one Publix and 2 drugstores can't deal with all this. But
Yeah.
I think they're going to figure it out. I'm not going to help them. Grandma
You
Gail is
single-handedly-
Grandma Gail's not going to help
not
me.
helping them to figure out their
Except you
problem.
single-handedly keep Publix alive with the amount that you
Well,
go
I do.
there.
I love Publix. I could be in Publix all day long.
Yeah.
They don't have Publix on the West Coast. So when I
No.
do come down here, that's the
They
first
don't have
great
it Northeast
mark.
either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so-
No, it's a
very
southern supermarket, but they're and they're so nice. And now, of course, her mom doesn't even go into the store, which boggles my mind. Everything is on Instacart.
Because she does Instacart.
She
Oh,
does
right.
Instacart. So
Yeah.
the stuff is in her apartment faster than my getting out of the driveway of the
Yeah,
supermarket.
that's why I think you waste your time.
I
going.
know, but I like to look at the fruit. I like
I
to
get
look
it.
at the stuff.
I got
Right.
it. So,
Hands on.
Brooke, we love the way you empower women with Live Out Loud. What inspired you to start it?
Well, 20 years ago, I was newly married, newly pregnant, and in my first trimester of pregnancy, I found out that I had stage 3 cancer. So that just really changed the course of my entire life. Everything stopped for a moment when I thought I was on this fast track of, all of my other friends. I had a career. I was married to the man of my dreams, still am 20 years later. And I was just so excited to start a family, and that just stopped a lot of things. It just put things in perspective. And I went through, I actually, they told me to have an abortion and start chemotherapy immediately based on the severity of my blood work, the severity of the cancer. And I just remember being they told me to go down to oncology. I remember talking to the doctor saying, okay, there has to be another way. I'm 26, I'm healthy. Let me just leave and I'll come back after this whole thing's over, after I have the baby, and then we'll deal with this. And they said, no, you don't understand. You have to deal with this now. Yeah. And so they gave me different scenarios of different women that didn't do what they were suggesting. And the outcome was not good. Either the baby died or the mom died. So the only other option was to cut the cancer out without anesthetic immediately because it was skin cancer, stage 3 melanoma. So it spread. It spreads when you're pregnant faster because of the hormones and everything. So the reason why I tell you all that is that physical and emotional pain that I went through in that moment just to get me through really just put things in perspective to what I wanted out of life and what life really meant and what I was really doing. And I realized really quickly the career path I was going down in the corporate world, it really was just because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. And it sounded good and it looked good. And I just didn't really feel like I had passion around it. And so I just really took the time to put things in perspective. And my husband was so wonderful. And I just knew, once I started having kids and I had a beautiful daughter and then I had another daughter, I just knew I had so much in me to create and grow and build, and I wanted to leave my legacy here for them that I just started to pray. That's why my faith is so strong. I just started to pray and ask God to just show me what I'm good at, show me what I'm supposed to do. And I just started getting all these creative downloads to just make an impact. And I started building businesses back then. I've built many businesses over the last 20 years. And back then it was just for my daughters. Back then it was like, I want my daughters to know who I am. I want to make an impact. I want to leave my footprint here because I don't know how long I'll be here. And I know that sounds bad now, but back then I didn't realize because the doctor said if I chose that option that I chose, that most likely I wouldn't live past 40, that it would come back. Right. So that was replaying in my mind over and over, but it gave me like the fuel to do all of these things that I would have never done. And then until one day I started to say, wait a second, I don't want to have that story. Right. God gets to decide that story. So I'm going to live, and I'm going to live out loud. Right. And I'm just going to live and, really rewrite that story. Cancer is not my story. And so when I started, we were talking about being positive. Right. When I started, really being positive, doing the right things, putting the right things in my body, and just speaking out a different story, surrounding myself with people that spoke out a different story, I just started envisioning being the healthiest 40-year-old mom that ever lived that was successful. And I just would speak that out every day. And then until one day that, I didn't have to go back. They said I'd have to go back every 3 to 6 months to get blood work for the rest of my life. And now, it's been 20 years. After about 8 to 10 years, they were like, okay, you're good. And cancer's not my story anymore. Yeah. So I really, going back to empowering women and just why I do what I do, I see so many women that just become set free in their being able to build their legacy just by the words that are spoken over them because it's already inside of them, and they might as well go all out, all in every day until God decides, So that's kind of where I got started and how I got started.
That's so inspiring. And I feel like it's obviously so difficult to be in that situation. Like, how do you know when you're making the right choice and looking back that you made the right choice?
Oh. Just luck. Yeah. A lot of it is luck that you make the right decision. And she had a family and she had support at home and she did it and accomplished it. So that's really the answer. It's wonderful.
I'm very grateful for my family. Right. I come from a really holistic family background where they were they gave me advice, and I'm glad that I took that, and I'm glad I did what I did because I have this beautiful 19-year-old daughter that and so it's just. But again, I always think at 26 to go through that, I'm so grateful because I would never be the woman that I am, and I would never be able to speak life into women the way I do if I didn't go through that. And again, back then, I'll tell you, it wasn't always, at 26 to 30, there were so many moments where I felt discouraged, defeated. You know, I said the wrong things out of my mouth because I felt sorry for myself and I wanted everybody else to feel sorry for me too.
Yeah.
But then you get to a point, you know, where
It's
I
not
can
productive
look back,
anymore.
right?
It's not productive.
And I can say 20 years later, wow, like I am that woman that's like, if I would have known 20 years ago and I would have looked back and said, hey, sister, get off the floor, stop crying, you're gonna be fine, you know. But I think so many times we focus on the diagnosis or, you know, whatever that death sentence is, you know, a lot of times it could be anything, you know, women go through financial, marriage, you know, so if we could just lift each other up. And
this is why it's very important to have choices and options and agency as women so we can make the best decisions for ourselves. So Grandma, I know we just did Brooke's podcast, by the way, so we talk a little bit more about all of this on hers, so you could definitely go listen.
Yes.
But Grandma talked a little bit also about her experience with cancer, and you really related on
Yeah,
that
I
level.
mean, we all go through something, and if you're positive, as Brooke is and was, and as I was, and you have family to help you through those dark days, you can beat it, as most people do today.
Yeah.
And I think that's the encouragement. Of course, the one thing I would say now that and we've gone to a million different skin things, everybody shouldn't be in the sun. Everybody should be covered properly. Even little bit, you know, the flap happy hats that the little kids wear. Don't get it on your neck. Don't get it on your face. The sun is destructive. Stress. Stress when you're in your 20s and 30s and 40s is a big factor in our lives today. You have to find a place. And women today, and this is what I really was going to ask you, we have so many women that were not when I was growing up, but the amount of women coming out of universities or graduate schools, I think, I don't know if we're more than the men now. I think we are. We're probably more in the population. They have to have some kind of place where it's a good place for them. Not everybody has to be on the top of the ladder. There has to be a whole gradual kind of going to different workforces and different jobs, and we need them all.
Yes.
So I wouldn't suggest that somebody has to go be tippy-top, be the head of General Motors. You can be very happy being a nurse's aide or a teacher or a anything that you want to be that you're happy doing.
Yes.
See, I think it's all about where you are and make yourself comfortable. And I don't like when everybody says, "Oh, I want to be the head guy or the head girl at something." That really doesn't make you happy because you're going to spend your entire life worrying that you're not at the pinnacle of your success. You know, go slow, go get comfortable, be surrounded by friends who have similar likes and want the best for you and for them. And then you'll be encouraged.
Yeah.
Well, and you can create anything. Like, look what you're doing. That's what I tell my daughters. I mean, you can literally create
your own business.
Anything today. If you believe in it, if you have the skill, everyone has gifts inside of them, and you can create anything, which is so amazing, isn't it?
It's very, very different.
Yeah.
It's very different, and it's freeing.
Yes.
And I think it's especially freeing for women.
Yes.
Because now you can have a little bit of it all.
That's right.
You can do it from at home. You can have a family. You can have a husband. You can make dinner.
Absolutely.
And you can still write a podcast. You can still go on, do a brand. You can do all these things within moderation, naturally.
Absolutely.
You have to have your priorities, naturally. But I think it's freeing.
Right.
You don't have to go up a corporate ladder. You could do, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, Brooke, I want to ask this to you because you have over 1,000 women in your community. It's membership based. When they come to you, what are the biggest struggles that they kind of want you to be able to help them with in business?
Honestly, like the number one thing that women come to our community is they feel isolated. They don't feel like they have support from other women or other people in wanting to be a businesswoman or create and build something that might sound like to everybody else, like, why do you want to do that? And be a great mother. And be a great wife, kind of like what you were just saying.
Right.
So really, number one, they come for the community support, the network, the collaboration, because it's so amazing when women can actually come together and collaborate and share.
Well, that's what we had.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody would have believed that we would have collaborated on a business.
You mean that me and you?
Yeah, you and me. I mean, because the truth is, it's the odd couple. But
Yeah.
it works. But
Yeah.
it worked. And that's what these women have to understand. They have to just find somebody that they can either work with
Yes.
or stay in a community that's supportive of them and not listen to all the bad stuff around
Yes.
them. Focus on where they're going. And you know,
But you
and
don't
let-
need like a co-partner to
no,
have a
no,
Right.
successful
But you need
business.
support.
Yeah.
You need to have
Right.
either family or friends supporting. I don't care. You can't do this alone. I don't think anybody can do it alone.
But also the skills, like what's really great, I told you we have women from 25 to 65. And what's been amazing, and I've loved that, I had for a while lots of marketing companies, lots of people say, you've got to niche down to one age, one look, one place, and one business. You know, you've been successful in this business, Brooke, so just focus on that. I said, well, that's boring. I'll be bored.
Yeah.
I don't want to be bored. I do every single thing that I would want to do, that I would want to be a part of. I create things that I would want to be a part of. Kind of like the first event I ever did, I told everybody I'm going to do it at the Breakers. So they said, you can't start at the Breakers. And I said, why?
not?
Yeah.
And they said, well, you have to start at like the Holiday Inn or the Marriott.
Right,
and
right.
I said,
It's not
I don't
where-
want to start
Right.
there. I don't want to go there. I want to start at the Breakers. And so it's a joke because I, you know, for me, this community of women, 25 to 65, all different demographics, all from all over, that's energizing to me because when you're stuck with the same age, same demographics, you know, same, you know, business, everybody's speaking kind of the same thing and you don't get any great ideas. So the other thing is just the resources and the skills that everyone in this group learns from each other because say you're in the corporate world or you're a lawyer or a doctor, you know, that language and what they're doing is very different than a full-time entrepreneur or somebody that has built a personal brand or a product.
Right.
And when they start sharing, and sometimes
That's
they're
helpful.
each other's ideal clients. So you can get market research
Right.
in a group
Yeah.
like that instead of paying a marketing company to, not that I'm against that, but
No.
you know, just it's quicker, it's faster. And so it's just been a really
Well,
exciting.
that's true. You've
No.
done that too.
No, it's so important. I'm relating to a million things that you're saying, but I think also when we do talk about like having a niche and stuff, I don't mean it in a way that it's like you can only talk about and do one thing.
Right.
Like we talk about food, fashion, family, technology, whatever. That's not one thing,
Right.
but it's about us at the end of the
Yes.
day and our relationship. So I think kind of like knowing who you are, but that doesn't, you're not one thing.
Right,
So that's
absolutely.
what you have to, yeah.
Totally.
And I think it is so beneficial too to have people from all different backgrounds come together. It can only add to like your experience. So I think it's amazing. How do you kind of nurture that between everybody and get them to have those conversations? And
I know it's been really, really special. I think from the very beginning when I started this, again, it was out of my own need. When back in the day when I was kind of going through my transition and I lived in this country club neighborhood where a lot of the women, I mean, I'm just gonna be honest, it was very discouraging to me. Like when I was trying to build things and I was like, oh, I have this idea. And they were like, why would you wanna do that? You just need to be a mom right now, you know? And I said, but why can't I be both? And it was almost like back then, because I was in my 20s, and I looked up to certain women that were already building families. And I think, listen, being a mom
The number
is
one.
the number one, and it is the hardest job.
Yeah.
Okay, so
No
let's just,
question.
I want to put that out there right away. But I think there's some women that are built to just do that, and that's not just, that's like a lot.
That's a lot.
But then there's some women that have it in them that they can do both. They can create and build at the same time. And just being around women that are encouraging makes all the difference in the world. So when I couldn't find that community for myself, this is, you know, almost 20 years ago, I just felt like I couldn't find it. Again, my faith, I was praying, God, please help me to find these women. Where are they? Where are they? And I felt so strong within my spirit, within my gut. I felt like the Lord said, go create it. They're waiting for you. Go create it. But you need to speak the language that they need to hear. So I would just show up and I was so nervous, shaking, I got made fun of, and I would be like, hey ladies, this is how I feel. Anybody out there?
Yeah.
Anybody feel like me? And so just little by little, started small and now it's expanded where, you know, it's just that culture that we have that it's like, hey, we're here. There's no offense. I always say we have some rules, some ground rules. No jealousy, no offense, no gossip, no bitterness, no unforgiveness. If you have any of those, which we all struggle with sometimes, let's just clear that up.
Leave it home.
Because that's going to destroy your business, your relationships. So as long as we have that, and then I have everybody sign NDAs to make sure
Wow.
that it's safe. And I'm like, listen, it's protected. What you do out there is your business, but like, this is protected. So let's really help each other. What would it really look like to actually help somebody else that you get no benefit from, but you know by helping them, they always grow too. Because when you're teaching somebody else or you're helping somebody else with what helped you, you always grow. And so it's just kind of our culture, and it's really worked, and I'm just grateful that it's been protected like that.
Well, women are very thankful for you.
Thank you.
No, it's a very important thing you're doing, and I think it's great, and it really has been needed.
Thank you. I feel the same way about both of you.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know if we're needed as much as you. We're having fun, but I don't know if the need is
We
there.
have fun too. I mean, because that's
yeah.
the thing. It's like I was like, I don't want to feel like when I say something, you know, that they're going to be like, why do you want to? I always say I have these comeback statements. If somebody says, why do you want to do that? I used to have to overly explain, well, let me tell you, you know, and then I just teach women to just go, why not?
Yeah.
With a smile and walk away.
I love that. That's always on my like TikTok For You page
Yeah.
and stuff of people giving examples of when someone says this to you, like say this instead. I love those videos. If you don't make those videos, you need to.
Oh, I need
because,
to. Okay.
I think it's like so powerful to kind of reframe that.
Right.
Because I definitely do the same thing as you used to, I guess, of explaining. But then if you like kind of make them feel insecure about why they're asking,
Right.
but in a nice, like constructive way. I think
Okay, I have
that's
one
great.
more I want to tell you, just in
Yeah.
case it comes up.
Yeah.
So if somebody says, wow, you've really changed. Instead
Say
of
for the
like,
better.
Right, and then just go, thank you so much
Yeah.
for noticing. And
Yeah.
like with a smile, and then you walk away. I'm like, these were the most, I wish I had these tools back
You're
in the
good.
day, but
Right.
this is what I tell my daughters too. But again, easier said than done.
Yes.
But try it.
Yeah, I mean, they could be coming from places of insecurity when
course.
they're saying those things, but also to give people like a little bit benefit of the doubt, like they're just speaking from their experience. So when people were saying
course.
to you, like, no, you have to be a mother first, like
Yes.
maybe that really worked for them.
Exactly.
So like,
Right.
great.
Or sometimes they just want to try to protect you too.
Yeah.
But again, it goes back to our confidence or our insecurity. And that's what I really see with both of you, the confidence. So I really want to keep encouraging you to keep that confidence strong, Kim, because my daughters need it.
Yeah. What advice do you give your daughters when they come to you about not feeling confident, whether it's social or in school?
I mean, honestly, my daughters always want to watch somebody else. You know, sometimes your daughters don't want to listen to your mother
Yeah.
tell you because they think you don't understand, even
I
though you
want
do.
to listen to you, Kim.
No, you.
So, you know, I just think a lot of times I try to tell them my experience. When you tell them your own experience, they
Right.
do realize you're more like than they want to give you
Normal.
credit
Yeah.
for.
You're
okay?
human? What?
But, you know, a lot of times it is like just know who you are. And I always say, don't let anybody or anything or anyone else's agenda stop you from who you want to be. And really, I think as moms, as grandmas, we want our daughters and our granddaughters. I don't have granddaughters yet, but I know my Grammy felt this way. I know my mom feels this way about my daughters. We just want you to be happy. And I want my daughters to be happy because when you're happy and you're really like comfortable with yourself and you know that you're loved, you want to be fully seen and fully loved, then you can do anything. You can create anything. And I think that, again, these past generations of just like feeling like, I know for me, I had periods of just feeling so insecure because I was such a people pleaser and I did want everyone to like me. And so I would tell people what they wanted to hear, but ultimately that made me unhappy.
Right.
And so just being, again, strong women that teach women to just, I want to like you just for who you are.
Yeah. I'm curious, when you're speaking to women of different generations, do you treat them differently when it comes to like empowering them or like the advice that you're giving based off of age? Because I feel like we can't ignore age.
No,
difference.
well, what I really try to do, I think this has really been helpful. I really try to teach the younger generation, even, okay, my daughters, but even myself, that honor is such a big thing. I mean, I even have this teaching on the honor matrix. I think that honoring the wisdom and who has gone before us is so important. Even in business, like I will never take full credit for anything that I've built. There's always somebody that has gone before me or somebody that has gone before the industry, before, and giving honor where honor's due only adds to your brand and adds to who you are, and it teaches the younger generation why that generation is so important, why wisdom is so important. And then on the other hand, you know, the younger generation, I think it's so incredible to teach you know, the older generation, that we should also honor and respect in a different way, that like, you know, they say things different, they feel things differently, they're in a different environment, they're being raised and being told different things that I want to understand. I just want to understand. I don't want to judge. I don't want to give my opinion to a point where they shut down. And so that younger, you know, just again, that combination, which again is so beautiful that we're having this conversation, because my community is filled with that. And I do think that we can talk to them differently, but also have the honor and respect to come together of why we should listen to each other, because we can always learn.
Listening is the big thing.
Yes.
Because you don't really approach the subject the same way at 25 that you do at 65. So you have to understand the two different approaches and either blend them or understand them so you can talk about them intelligently. Because, you know, certainly a mature person is a lot more experienced in life, and that's very important. But the young person now knows about innovation, knows about creativity from a place that our generation and a little younger than I know nothing about. I mean, we've seen that. So I think it's very important, and just to be in a room of people who care and are truly interested in each other is really the thing.
And even your confidence, I'll tell you, even some of the videos I've seen of you, like where you're washing your face. You know,
do a lot of
my
makeup.
daughter's, she's washing her face. Senior year of high school, she has a boyfriend over the phone. In the morning, she's washing her face while he's on the phone. And I said,
why?
I would have never. It took me years for my husband to see me
without makeup.
Totally without. But I love that confidence, because it's like, this is who I am. Take it or leave it.
It's a different world.
I love it though.
Oh, that's an interesting thing. Like, after seeing how your daughters are in their relationships, you've been married for 20 years. Like, did you take anything from them and like, okay, I'm going to start being this way around my husband?
I always tell my oldest daughter,
Yeah.
the confidence that you have, just even being direct with people in a kind way, like you are, you know, just like you speak what you want to say without worrying, because you're just being you.
Yeah.
My older daughter's like that too. And I always say, okay, I'm gonna learn, you know, she'll sometimes go, okay, Mom, you can do it, you know, and I'm like, okay, like I'm, you know, and so, but it's true. And yes, and with my husband too. I mean, again, we've been married 20 years and he's amazing. And, you know, but I felt insecure, you know, with certain things early on in our marriage, and probably even until, I'm always learning from my daughters, like, just, okay, wash my face.
How long did you date your husband before you?
Only a year and a half.
See? Well, that's even too long.
But like we knew like 6 months. I think we were like, I think I was engaged pretty quickly.
How did you meet?
We met at a party that neither of us wanted to be at, because I went for my girlfriend and he went for a friend, and I was kind of pouting because I didn't want to be there. And I sat on the couch. He walks in, doesn't want to be there, sits right next to me, and we start talking.
That was kismet.
And it was like
Perfect.
I don't really want to say love at first sight, but I just knew. I just really liked him.
Yeah.
And then we've been together ever since.
That's great. That's very
I feel like
good.
that's why you have to say yes to everything. And
Yes.
like, even if you're not in the mood to go, like go, because you never know.
You never
never
know.
know.
90% of the time, you're like, oh, I should have stayed home, but like there's that 10%.
Exactly.
That's
of the
right.
time.
Exactly.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I guess I want to end on like one actionable step you would give people who either are in your community or who are just listening, of how to live more of a bold, authentic life.
I think it really goes back to, again, like live out loud is, I always say it's not about being louder. It's about knowing what's inside and being able to speak it out. I think as women, using our voices and saying the truth and being known as being truth tellers, I think is the best advice that we can give each other. Like really being able to hear somebody's truth and listen and accept it because it's their truth. And saying out loud what's inside. It took me a really long time. I would keep things inside, or, you know, I think as women, we all do that. And we
want to look good. We want to be, you know, the perfect woman.
Yeah.
And there's no such thing. So
Right.
But you can still look good.
that's you.
Well,
you're
you
right.
look
You
good,
always
girl.
look good. I can't always say that.
Not for you.
But, you know, and I do think just being able to, you know, have those real connections with people and saying, you know, I'm nervous about telling you this because it might be something you don't want to hear, but I've got to tell the truth. And that has really shifted me a lot, and just the women that I serve in my community and business, because if we can't tell the truth and we can't say what's inside, then we're really not building something authentic. And again, back to both of you, the reason why I'm so drawn to both of you, because it's really like an outlet for me, because everything I do is pretty, I mean, I've watched the same things. I mean, I'm all business sometimes, and my family and my faith, but you've both been like a really good outlet for me to just, you're having fun, you're super authentic, you remind me of my Grammy, and just my relationship that I had and the relationship that my mom has with my daughters. And just to kind of like loosen up a little bit for me, to like not take things so seriously and just have those relationships that are so important. And I just keep thinking about both of you being on video and how you're creating this thing that you're gonna have forever, and your kids will have forever, and your grandkids will have
If they want to watch it.
Yeah.
I think they've seen enough of us, to be very truthful.
But it's a really cool moment in time.
We just want them to keep talking to us to get the videos.
Exactly. Yes, like in the back of my head, I'm like, that will be great, but you can't like think about that every day, because then it like changes the way
messes with you.
Yeah, it kind of
messes with our head.
But you should be really proud, Kim, and I'm really.
We're all proud of her.
Yeah,
Same to
she's
you,
done
though.
it.
Yeah.
No.
And just the way that you bring it together. And I loved when we did do the podcast earlier, how you are even saying that you wanted to protect your grandma as far as like not letting anybody change her.
Yeah.
That was really awesome that you
you.
said that.
Thank you. I think, yeah.
Well, she does.
Yeah,
She does.
I don't really bring you into meetings and stuff.
Thank God, because I'd be
Like,
telling off
it's-
everybody.
Half of it is that nice bit of me, and half of it is because I'm like, we'll lose the deal.
We'll lose the deal. Because, unfortunately, I say exactly, I have no
Yeah.
filter. She always says, Grandma, you have no filter.
I love that.
So
One time, like,
How can you teach somebody to not have a filter? Have you always been like that?
Yes, but I have no children like that. I have one granddaughter that's basically not Kim, one granddaughter that has no filter, and she's doing just
I
fine.
completely disagree.
Really?
Yeah, I think you two are the most similar.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's because she doesn't have a filter.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Whatever it is, it's something that's just your personality, and
Right.
why we do so well is we have no competition with each other.
I
Yeah,
love that.
very
She's
different.
the boss. I listen to whatever she says, and then I do whatever I want. That's
Now
it.
that's
That's
good. Repeat
going
that.
on a t-shirt
I love that.
immediately.
What did she say? What did you?
Well, you have
You
recorded.
have to catch me when I say it.
She tells me what to do, but then I do whatever I want.
Yeah.
You t-shirt.
That's great. I love it. Okay, I want to end with a game we play with all our guests called Grandma Gail's Old-Fashioned Dating Quiz.
Okay.
So we're going to go through a few hypotheticals, and then we will figure out whether you're more old-fashioned or more of a modern dater.
Okay.
Okay. So would you rather receive a call or a text from your husband if it's just to say hi?
Well, he wasn't her husband.
Okay, right. This is like early dating.
Early
Okay.
dating.
So the person.
Early dating, definitely call.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Would you sleep with someone on the first date?
No.
Dating apps or setups?
Setups for sure.
Would you move in together before getting engaged, or wait until you're engaged to move in?
Wait.
Boy, she's my girl.
Who should pay for the date? Should it be one person in a couple, or should you split, alternate?
The man.
Okay, you are definitely
She
more
is a
old-fashioned.
you are grandma's girl.
All right.
All the way. It's the first one that we've had a complete
I
one.
know.
Really?
Complete fit with
All
us.
right.
With me.
Both with you.
High
With
five.
me. High five.
Brooke, thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you
Tell
so
everyone
much.
where they can find you.
Oh,
follow
okay.
you.
On Instagram, Live Out Loud with Brooke. And just brookethomas.com is my website. So thank you so much. And the Live Out Loud show, of course. Don't forget to watch the episode that I did with both of you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
check that podcast out. Keep listening to us. We're Excuse My Grandma on social media. And we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.